Witam serdecznie, nazywam się Tomasz Wróblewski, Warsaw Enterprise Institute. Pojawiamy się dzisiaj z nową inicjatywą. Chcemy zająć się podatkami. Nie to, żeśmy się podatkami nie zajmowali do tej pory, ale chcemy powołać organizację podatników w Polsce. Zwróciliśmy uwagę, że w krajach, w których podatki są najprostsze i najbardziej przyjazne i pomagają gospodarce, istnieją bardzo silne organizacje podatników. Może to ma wpływ, pomyśleliśmy, że stworzymy jedną w Polsce. Było kilka podejść, nigdy to się nie udało. Przyjrzeliśmy się to, co robią koledzy w Niemczech, co robią koledzy w Finlandii, w Szwecji. Żeśmy mnóstwo rozmów przeprowadzili, jak te organizacje powstawały. Bierzemy przykłady od najlepszych, bo to, jak wyglądają najlepsze podatki, to wiemy i z tym nie ma większych problemów i modele są. Moment jest nieprzypadkowy, jest zmiana warty, pojawi się nowy rząd. Mamy nadzieję, że będzie potrzebował dużo bardzo fajnych pomysłów na rozwiązanie systemu podatkowego. W zasadzie nie było o tym mowy w kampanii wyborczej, co nas mocno zdziwiło, ponieważ z wielu rzeczy, które nie działają w Polsce, ta chyba działa najbardziej nie działa. Jeżeli chodzi o OECD, to jesteśmy na przedostatnim miejscu w OECD. Za nami są tylko Włosi, jeżeli chodzi o bardziej nieprzyjazny, źle funkcjonujący system. Także jest nadzieja, że z nową energią nowy rząd to zmieni. Świat jest w trudnej sytuacji. Nie mówię tylko o Ukrainie, ale jest i Serbia, Azerbejdżan, Armenia i oczywiście Bliski Wschód. Widzimy koncentrujące się wojska, czarne chmury. Jakby to się nie skończyło, świat będzie potrzebował więcej ludzkiej energii, a nie mniej. Więcej energii w gospodarce, więcej pieniędzy w rękach ludzi, żeby pobudzić gospodarkę. Ja nie chcę teraz opowiadać o naszym systemie podatkowym, bo to wszyscy wiedzą. Powiem tylko, że problemem nie jest wysokość podatków, ale ich złożoność, skomplikowaność i taka nieprzyjazność i duża arbitralność. I jeszcze raz, pomysły na zmiany podatku są. Wydamy wkrótce razem ze Związkiem Przedsiębiorców Pracodawców osobny program, książkę, rekomendacje, jak naprawić podatki. To już w tej chwili zapraszam. Natomiast dzisiaj chcemy skupić się na tym, co się dzieje z naszymi pieniędzmi, jak rząd wykorzystuje nasze pieniądze. Przygotowywaliśmy, to Państwo już tutaj, którzy są, dostali, Czarną Księgę podatków. Robił to dla nas Przemysław Staciwa, 49 przykładów marnowania Twoich, naszych pieniędzy. One są o tyle porażające, co i zabawne, ale to też ma tylko zwrócić uwagę, bo problem jest oczywiście szerszy, co się dzieje z naszymi pieniędzmi. Tylko wspomnę też, tak jak powiedziałem, że jesteśmy częścią większej organizacji europejskiej, także mamy tutaj, proszę, wszystko leci. Mamy także przykłady innych nadużyć i tego, jak pieniądze podatników są marnowane w innych krajach. Nie będę już przeciągał, chętnie o tym później jeszcze porozmawiamy. Oddaję głos teraz Sebastianowi, który poprowadzi dyskusję i panel.
Tak, dziękuję. To tylko dla porządku dodam, że pierwsza dyskusja będzie w języku angielskim, ponieważ za wyjątkiem Tomka wszyscy uczestnicy są spoza Polski. Mam tutaj się przesunąć? Dobrze, takie wskazówki. Do tego, co Tomek powiedział, do faktu, że dzisiaj ma miejsce premiera naszej Czarnej Księgi, chciałem też dodać, że w internecie, na naszej stronie internetowej możecie wszyscy Państwo wziąć udział w głosowaniu. Wcześniej oczywiście zapoznając się z tymi 49 przykładami na najbardziej, waszym zdaniem, czy absurdalny, czy skandaliczny wydatek. My zwycięzcę odpowiednio uhonorujemy, wręczymy w świetle i w błysku fleszy specjalną nagrodę. Jaka to będzie nagroda, to też dopiero ujawnimy za czas jakiś. Natomiast głosowanie potrwa miesiąc, więc jest czas, żeby sobie spokojnie poczytać i zastanowić się, co budzi w Państwu największy opór i sprzeciw z tych wydatków. Ponadto zachęcamy do kontrolowania lokalnych władz pod kątem tego, jak wydają wasze pieniądze i przesyłania nam informacji, jeżeli nie robią tego tak, jak waszym zdaniem powinni. My będziemy każdy taki przypadek sprawdzać i w związku z tym, że planujemy publikować taką Czarną Księgę co roku, niektóre z tych przypadków, które Państwo nam podeślą, będziemy właśnie w tej księdze umieszczać. A Czarna Księga jest tylko, tak jak powiedział Tomek, jedną z wielu inicjatyw, które zamierzamy podejmować w ramach ruchu podatników. Będziemy przyglądać się legislacji w tej materii, będziemy ją opiniować, będziemy publikować stanowiska, ale też będziemy wskazywać konkretne rozwiązania i starać się budować wokół tych rozwiązań świadomość społeczną, naciskać na polityków. Mamy nadzieję, że racjonalnych polityków, którzy znajdą się u władzy, żeby te rozwiązania wprowadzali. Także i tutaj jesteśmy skłonni kooperować, współpracować z państwem. Jeżeli państwo mają jakieś idee, jakieś pomysły, to oczywiście możemy je wspólnie przemyśleć i przeanalizować. Także to tyle z mojej strony, jeśli chodzi o wstęp. Zapraszam już panelistów do... faktycznie, przepraszam. Najważniejsza część dzisiejszego wieczoru. Ja już chciałem rozmawiać, ja już chciałem debatować. Przemysław Staciwa, autor Czarnej Księgi. Jeszcze ją pokrótce zaprezentuję na swoich slajdach i też pewnie własnoręcznie, także zachęcam. Wielkie brawa, to jest autor, który przeanalizował te wszystkie przykłady.
Bardzo dziękuję za ciepłe słowa. Dzień dobry Państwu. Na początek 2 słowa podziękowania dla prezesa Wróblewskiego, wiceprezesa Stodolaka, że zechcieli dać mi kredyt zaufania na napisanie tej książki. Bardzo dziękuję. Mam nadzieję, że wyszło dobrze, ale to już Państwo ocenicie sami. Tak jak zostało to wspomniane. Dużo już zostało wspomniane, także ja nie będę zbyt mocno przedłużał. Mam nadzieję, że w kolejnym roku ukaże się kolejna Czarna Księga. Powiem o kuluarach tego, jak chcieliśmy, jak w rozmowach chcieliśmy przedstawić tę ideę 49 przykładów marnowania pieniędzy podatników. Chcieliśmy, żeby to było maksymalnie przekrojowe, to znaczy nie oszczędzaliśmy nikogo, czy to jest władza centralna, samorządowa, gmina, miasta duże czy wielkie. Chcieliśmy to zrobić maksymalnie szeroko, tak żeby te przykłady trafiały do świadomości i wyobraźni Polaków i Polek z małych miasteczek, wielkich aglomeracji i żeby ukazać to, w jaki sposób inwestycje nietrafione drenują kieszenie podatników. Jeśli wpiszecie Państwo w wyszukiwarkę takie frazy jak bubel inwestycyjny czy jakaś klapa, to zaręczam, bo badałem to dość dogłębnie, że z reguły wyskoczy Państwu coś z infrastruktury drogowej najczęściej, więc te przykłady się powtarzają. Chcieliśmy wyselekcjonować 49 przykładów, które byłyby maksymalnie zróżnicowane, takie zabawne, niektóre wielkie, gigantyczne, niektóre małe, niektóre kompletnie niezrozumiałe. Pokażę może na kilku slajdach te koncepcje. Na pierwszym to widzimy piękny projekt okładki. Z tego, co mi szepnięto, to ten czerwony głaz to był prezesowy Wróblewskiego pomysł. Mnie się osobiście podoba również. Przechodzimy dalej. No i mamy właśnie mapkę, na której pokazujemy zestawienie tych przypadków. Tak akurat się złożyło, że no, cała Polska została obsiana tymi 49 przypadkami od małych miejscowości takie jak Goszczowice, po oczywiście Łódź, Warszawę, Wrocław, tam najwięcej, Zagłębie takich przykładów, Wrocław, Warszawa, ale i Kraków. Także mapka bardzo dobrze obrazuje nam na początek, jak dużo było tych przykładów i jak one są zróżnicowane. Także zachęcam do zapoznania się ze spisem treści. Tak, ponad 12 miliardów złotych wyrzuconych pieniędzy. I mamy tutaj podaję teraz przykłady poszczególnych inwestycji wybranych, które wyselekcjonowaliśmy. No, ja wskazywałem między innymi na dworzec Łódź Fabryczna, który jakby jest imponujący w mojej Łodzi, w której na co dzień mieszkam, jednak nie spełnia póki co swojej funkcjonalności. Dużo mówi się o tunelu średnicowym, który miałby udrożnić i zwiększyć pewną przepustowość tego dworca. Gigantyczne pieniądze. Wydaje mi się, że monumentalność tego dworca pozwalałaby na to, żeby nie powstydziła się jakaś dzielnica Nowego Jorku, natomiast w tym mieście świeci on pustkami. Wydaje się, że można było zrobić taniej, skromniej, ergonomiczniej i oszczędzić te pieniądze. Mamy jajo na Placu Pięciu Rogów, no to tutaj rodowitym warszawiakom nie trzeba chyba tego przedstawiać. Pewnie ludzie mają różne na temat tej inwestycji opinie. My uznaliśmy ją za nieco kuriozalną, za dość kuriozalną i powodującą problemy infrastrukturalne. Koszt to 260 tysięcy złotych. Jeszcze nadmienię, jaka była struktura omawiania tych przykładów. Zastanawialiśmy się, jak to wszystko precyzyjnie ubrać słowa, tak żeby było spójnie, jasno i przejrzyście. No oczywiście wskazywaliśmy na przykład, wskazywaliśmy na koszt danej inwestycji, a także terminy, w których ona została zrealizowana. Mamy wiszącą tragedię za 260 milionów złotych, to jest most w Bydgoszczy, nieczynny od roku 2020, to jest kolejny przykład. No i mamy też przykłady w mniejszych miejscowościach, to przykład ławeczki w urokliwym towarzystwie, czyli w malowniczym geoparku w Radkowie na Dolnym Śląsku. Punkt widokowy, jak sami Państwo widzicie, imponujący. Można podziwiać pewną budowlę. Myślę, że to jest jakby kwestia gustu. No, nie dyskutuje się o walorach architektonicznych, ale my postanowiliśmy troszkę podyskutować. Państwo sami ocenicie, czy te ponad 1 milion złotych został przeznaczony w dobrym celu. Na tym zakończyła się prezentacja. Ja wspomnę jeszcze mój ulubiony przykład. To jest toaleta w Białymstoku, w zabytkowym parku. Toaleta nieczynna, a kosztująca bagatela 400 tysięcy złotych. Tam wykonawcy nie wzięli pod uwagę, że powstaje na terenie zabytkowego parku, nie powstały odpowiednie zabezpieczenia dla tej toalety, co skutkuje tym, że wiele miesięcy była ona nieczynna. Nie będę zdradzał wszystkich przykładów, mam nadzieję, że chętnie Państwo weźmiecie tą Czarną Księgę do ręki, a za rok spotkamy się z kolejnym wydaniem i omówimy resztę przykładów. Pięknie Państwu dziękuję.
Dzięki wielkie. To zanim jeszcze rozpoczniemy dyskusję, chciałem zaprosić najpierw Petera Gondę z Instytutu Konserwatywnego ze Słowacji. Peter, come up, please, to the stage. Peter opowie w kilku słowach o inicjatywach, które w ramach Instytutu swojego prowadzą, a potem podobnie Michael Jaeger z Bawarii, z niemieckiego Stowarzyszenia Podatników. Najpierw Peter, first you, Peter, Michael, you second in line. Both, every mic is working, so. You can sit, stand, up to you.
They're friends of liberty and fiscal and other responsibilities. I wish you pleasant afternoon. Thank you very much, Sebastian, for kind invitation and for the possibilities to discuss within this panel. It's very important for me. Also, this topic is very important and very timely in current situation. Today, as you know, we live in the best times, historical best times. However, at the same time, we live beyond our means and at the expense of future. And therefore, the politicians and central bankers are financially sustaining the illusion of such life. And politicians are also feeding the people illusions of gifts delivered from somebody else's money. As Thomas Sowell mentioned, while the first lesson of economics is the scarcity, the first lesson of politics is the disregard the first lesson of economics. It's very important to mention. And it's most visible manifested in the growing public debt. An example of fast-growing public debt in Slovakia, I would like to mention you as memento for you. Because during a decade in Slovakia, public debt increased in absolute terms by 93%, 25 billion euros. This is a very huge amount, and moreover, the huge public finance deficit for the current year was implemented by our government. What is the highest as a percentage in GDP in the EU. And therefore, Slovakia is now in critical situation relating to public finance, and it's possible the bankrupt during 10 years, and therefore I would like mention several figures relating to this. The excessive government expansions is, from my point, is a crucial problem. Because actually the greatest problem in the economy, from my point of view, is growing government scope and the impact on the economy. And in public finance is government expenditure increase. This is two crucial problems in the current economy. And excessive government expansion takes place in Slovakia. This year, the general government expenditure will increase in Slovakia by 28 billion euros in comparison with 2012 decade. 28 billion 10 years is very huge increase during this time. And I would like to say that please note that more realistic burden of the redistributed public expenditure is not comparison to GDP, because public expenditure are included in GDP, and therefore more realistic is compared to value added of private companies, of private institutions. And if we compare public expenditure to private to value added of private enterprises, in Slovakia is 75 or almost 90%. This is big difference that only 50% as a usual average in EU. And therefore I would like to also show this. I have a presentation. If somebody want, I can send more figures. And which are the main causes of the situation? I would like to mention during this presentation only 3 causes. Maybe during discussion we can discuss about it more. First, absent and insufficient limits of public expenditure and public finance. Limits and rules. Absent, insufficient. Secondly, government consumption. And thirdly, deformed structure of public expenditure. I mean mainly transfers to people with middle and higher income, social transfers and other transfers to middle and higher income. It's a problem not only in Slovakia, and also subsidies to economy is also other problem. And expenditure growth is fueled significantly by public consumption, and I would like to say that in Slovakia, consumption of government is 44% of total expenditure. More than 40% is consumption, is very huge portion, and its increase caused by very huge increasing number of employees, of course, but also is growth of average wage in public sector. Paradoxically, in Slovakia is widening the gap between the average wage in public sector and private sector. While in 2012, the average monthly salary was the same in public sector and in private sector, but today in public sector is higher by 200 euros than in private sector, whose taxes are funding the public sector. It's absolutely paradox at the moment. And systematic cause of public expenditure is also legislation in social areas. I mean, mainly, this is not problem Slovakia, but maybe Poland and other countries in EU. Universal, regular, valorized claims of welfare state, benefits without objective needs and sufficient limits, also relatively generous, without financial coverage, which support the people's entitlement mentality. It's a crucial problem from my point of view, because it's supporting entitlement mentality in our current society. And also, as I indicate, the structure, different structure is caused by subsidies, but also EU funds and EU policies, because this is expenditure traps, for example, as a common agricultural policy, and also ever-growing public expenditure result from the existence of public enterprises. This is maybe the very similar situation also in Poland. And I would like to shift to another problem relating to revenues, because the problem is the public expenditure is not financially covered by public revenues, despite of a very excessive total tax burden. For example, in Slovakia, in previous year was tax incomes versus GDP only 35%, but this is not total tax burden. Overall burden in form of mandatory payments is substantially higher according to our methodology. Our methodology calculation, the burden of all administrative enforced payments, obligate payments, are 63% from labor cost. And also, Warsaw Enterprise Institute calculated according to our methodology for Poland, and it is higher because it is 65%. It's a very huge portion mandatory burden from labor cost. I would find it the calculation could become international because it shows complex burden also which is interconnected with government scope and interventions. And also provide insight people about price of public sector. It is different that only we can compare revenues, tax revenues to GDP, or is not reality relating to tax burden we must pay to all institutions according to administrative law. What we must pay is a big difference. And now, and I would like to say that the big government restrict and reduce people's prosperity and freedom, and therefore I think we must stop and reduce the scope and interventionist influence of state and other administrative entities. It is crucial task for us, stop and reduce it. And therefore, we can discuss during discussion more, but I would like to indicate only several points. First is we need checks. We need constitutional or other checks of political powers. For centralized, for redistribution, for taxes, for regulations, and so on. Also, we need deal with causes public finance problems by elimination distortions, as I mentioned, on expenditure and asset size. For example, by decrease of consumption, decrease of scope, and increased targeting social transfers to poor people, to only poor people, and also for elimination subsidies to business and for privatization. Still, in Poland, in Slovakia, we need another privatization. And what is also very important from long-term point of view, we need expenditure reforms, pension, healthcare, and other aim at reducing people reliance on money from others through taxes and transferring responsibility for their living conditions from government to them. It was very, very important. This means reduce the rate of entitlement, this unsustainable welfare state. And if some politicians or technocrats propose increasing taxes, this is not solution. Absolutely don't consider as consolidation. And finally, I would like to say the key assumption of the redirection is for people be aware the true size, impact, and consequences. It's very important. As Milton Friedman say, that the best protection of freedom is public response against excessive taxation and excessive government side. And I'm convinced that our calculations relating to the tax burden, then your book and this conference will contribute to this. Thank you very much.
Nothing to add. Thank you. I'm really, Okay, sorry. I'm really happy to be here. Let's say tax fighters for freedom, entrepreneurial freedom. If you want to distribute money, first you have to earn it. And the state is mostly thinking the wrong direction. I say, have a master plan how to distribute, but not to make the cake bigger. They want more and more revenues, and that's why we have really to stand close. And I think Warsaw Enterprise Institute, it's a right thing, what you do now with this black book and your work. Very brilliant work, and maybe some remarks on our association, what we do, where we come from. The Taxpayers movement itself, I come from Bavaria, and I'm a member of the board of the Bavarian and German Association. But today I'm here as the president of the European Association. It was founded in 1969. We have 29 members. We represent more than 1 million people, entrepreneurs, European-wide. But we are not limited to the size of European Union. So also Ukraine and other countries can become member. So our definition of Europe is a little bit larger. The aims are very simple. And by the way, also in our statutes, in the Bavarian, German statutes, and the European statutes, to make life very easy. So if you ask me something as an economist, I can tell you sometimes my private ideas, but if it comes to public spending, revenues, it's a clear message. So we fight for sure for lower taxation, less tax bureaucracy, more individual freedom, and what is marked red, because we talk today about waste and the use of public finance. So the money which is wasted it's really the wrongest approach, misuse of public funds. So for sure we need what you mentioned already, a lean, efficient public sector, like in an enterprise. We do not expect that everything's going wrong and right on the public budget, but for sure, long-term and short-term, we have to monitor it, and we need sustainability. We talk lots now for how to fight climate change, sustainability, and we need also financial sustainability. So if you have an increase of indebtedness, what is left to our children and grandchildren? So we have also a responsibility of a good use of public money. So I think also the quality, and that's why it's right time to publish such a book. People now monitor it much more, how the money is used. And I think that's also important for us to have a better impact on politics, and we need efficiency of public spending. Jean-Claude Juncker once said, every euro spent of the European Union must have an impact more than €1. Otherwise, you don't have to invest. And you need an output of spending, not consumption. So in Germany, where I come from, we spend lots now with our coalition. Our politicians distribute money, but not for future investment, where we have more growth. It's only consumption. That's really wrong. And so why we have to monitor it? There's always, if you have public spending, it's easier to spend other people's money. It's much easier than to spend your own money, what you have to earn. So you have always a latent danger of waste of public funds. You have always a latent danger of fraud, misuse, and inefficiency. And that's what we fight. And there are different ways. You can have it internal with Court of Auditors, external, or as we, as a non-political group, by media, a non-governmental and non-profit organization as our Taxpayers movement. And for sure you can have some good approach in your constitution to balance budget. We succeeded in Bavaria, a ban of indebtedness, 2013. So no new debts. Now with COVID, we were around 25 billion indebtedness, and then we had 40 billions more only faced to one virus. Now we have 65 billions of indebtedness because this was a special situation. So we have also to limit taxes and public expenditures. That's what you mentioned, according to gross domestic product, a quota. So it's clear if your private and entrepreneur demand is replaced by government demand, in a short term, maybe COVID, or if you have an energy crisis, whatever, it could be helpful. But as a long-time project is wrong. The state cannot replace private entrepreneur demand and supply. It's not working. It's not working because we are not living in a totalitarian system. We're living in a market system. So we have to fight, and we, with the Taxpayers movement, we are external control, and that's what we do. And we, as a German association, we publish every year our so-called Black Book. I brought some copies. I have sent it to you digitally too. Sorry, it's in German, but I think you have already translated one of our publications. If you want it, please take it. It's very nice. Examples, easy to read, but I cannot understand what is going on. So, and we do it once a year. This year is the 51st edition. Last year we made a special newspaper, also 50th anniversary of our Black Book. And I think it's a good weapon, a good tool, because no mayor, no politician wants to stand in it. It's a public discussion of waste. And so that's really not easy for politicians to explain why they did something wrong. And we do a good research, by the way. We do not publish something. We write to a mayor, we write to a minister, we get noticed by media, by members, or anonymous, and then we write an inquiry, and I'm also a journalist. They have to answer to our inquiry. And then sometimes there's a certain reason of increase of costs, then we close this chapter. But if not, we continue. And then in Germany, we come together, we collect all the cases, and the craziest cases are published. It's about 100 cases every year, are published in our so-called Black Book. It's from small amount to big amount. It could be also bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is also hindering growth. So if you, as an entrepreneur, got not a license, like in Munich, by the way, a restaurant, they didn't get, years ago, they were writing and fighting, and they didn't get a license for outside part of the restaurant. And after 6 or 8 months, the department realized that they are not responsible to decide it. What was really funny for them, but was really bad for the entrepreneur, because the whole business, summer business, was done. So nobody was responsible. Nobody has to pay him something. And that's not fair. Or another very nice example, frogs and grass. I have nothing against animal, but city of Munich bought a big area because they wanted to invest. New buildings, new corporates, development of a part of the city. What they didn't use that there are seldom animals like frogs there, and it's not allowed to build there. Nobody would buy such a ground for such a price if it's just nature. And it was a department knowing it, but they did not check it before. So that's clear waste of money. The owner of this green grass square meters was very happy because he got a good compensation, but it was a loss for the city of Munich. And it's stupid because they even didn't check. It's a normal situation. If you want to build, you must know if you're allowed to build as a private person, as an entrepreneur. It's the first step. Also in a contract, it should be mentioned. So we have different chapters. We have a landing page. We, as a Taxpayers Association, we have our own webpage for sure. And we have many clicks. And our server was shut down. And for that reason, we have our own webpage for the Black Book. And it's a very modern and very easy to use webpage. And we have different chapters. Every year we have a certain topic. This year we were discussing public relation and image spending of the government. Hairdresser, styling. So especially the Greens, by the way, spend thousands of euro to look nice, to have nice hairs, nice face, nice dress. And it should not be paid by the taxpayers, by the way. Baerbock, okay, I don't know if she needs it, but sorry, or Habeck, but that's not our job to spend millions for this. Normally a woman knows how to style herself, and wants one coaching, but not permanent. So she really is a hairdresser and a stylist with her, and it's paid by the taxpayers. What is not nice, and we published it, and also our Bavarian Prime Minister and others, they do the same. And so I'm belonging to the market side as a private person, so conservative, libertarian. Everything was in the interest of the market, of entrepreneurs and taxpayers. That's my close relation, but I have also to criticize it. So if you do a black book, even if it would be my brother, I have to do it. So you must be neutral. And independent. By the way, we are financed by our members' fees. We are completely independent. We get no single euro. With the German Taxpayers Association, we have 200,000 members financing all the regional work. With the Bavarians, we have 35,000 members paying a small contribution between 60 and 120 euros. So we're completely independent. We have different chapters. So bridges, real estate, constructing. So most of the waste is in this area. Most of the waste. We have now a study, a doctorate in Romania, a colleague. We want to identify also an amount, what is interesting, from which increase you can identify increase of costs as a waste. There's no legal definition until today. We monitor it, and I can show you later some examples. Clear waste, and it's from reread also. If we once published a case, and the project is not finished, we continue to monitor it. So the politicians are not out. We don't let them out. We continue control, what is also important, not to stop. And also we have success stories. Sometimes when we start to criticize, mayors and politicians become afraid and stop projects. That's the biggest success. Mostly not published in the black book, but that's the cases I love, those who are not published. So, for instance, Bremerhaven, they have spent for cultural pass for young people 200 euro, prepaid cash card 60 euro, and a credit 180 euros. It's not a big amount, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. And if you have an indebted city, you should not use this money this way. It's not necessary. So it's a gift paid by the taxpayers. Everybody would love to have it. Or Berlin, that's also our federal president. There's if you are in Berlin, have a look to this Bellevue Palais. It's very nice, and it's renovated. So you could rent something, or you can build something. And we had an increase from 130 million to 205 million euro, only for interims building. It's much too much. Rent any administrative building. It's much cheaper than to do it this way. But that's the way we plan in Germany or in Celle for bicycles. Is a funny, nice thing now. Munich, for instance, is spending 1.6 billion for new roads for bicycles. We have already roads. But those who are, we call it Lastenfahrt, with children in front, big bicycles, they want 1 meter 50, 1 meter 80 roads for bicycles. It's done because the bicycle drivers are voters and it's paid by all taxpayers, what is stupid. And now the mayor realized we have some really nice roads for bicycles already. I do not want to replace them, only for 5 or 10 or 8 centimeters. It's stupid, it's a loss. I'm high speeding, I'm high speeding. So Munich, that's also, we have a train. We started with 1.8 billion, now we have 7 billions. Increase of costs. Someone should be responsible to it. Or Coburg, I have been there, we started with 59 million, now it's 360 million cost for renovation of the theater. And we know that we will end around 400. So someone should be responsible. And more cases. We have one success at the end, EU prosecutor since 2021. There's a EU prosecutor fighting these cases. You find very nice videos too. And we have a special edition, take it with you. I have sent it also digital, Corona funds. We had a lots of money collected in indebtedness. The reason why? To fight the impact of COVID. But the money is not used for COVID. It's used for different things. So it's not fair. So 800 billion indebtedness and loans, and there's a misuse. And nobody says we don't accept it. We published it. I think we should also mention this, and that's what we do also with our European politicians. Someone is hunting license, for instance. Has this something to do with COVID? I don't think so. I don't think so. And other projects too. Soccer team, female soccer team in Spain. Has this really a relation to COVID? I don't think so. Funny cases. And we should fight these cases. That's why such a black book is really efficient and very good. And we have a European page of the European Taxpayers, The Waste of Nations. Have a look there, go there. It's very interesting, where we collect funny cases European-wide. The Swedish colleagues started this web page. And if you translate a case, send it to them, or send it to me. I will transfer it, and it will be published on the European web page, Waste of Nations. And that's it from my side. I just want to show you that we do lots, and it's good that you started. It's a step-by-step work, and I think we can really force politicians to spend money much more efficient, and that's important because we represent all taxpayers and entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.